Children as young as 10 years old are being exposed to gambling habits.
Alarming trends surrounding teens and gambling.
Doctors are urging parents to speak to their children about gambling, warning online
Games
games.
might not be as harmless as you think they are when it comes to gambling.
This is a loot box, and it can be very dangerous. There's a new kind of gambling addiction, and it's not happening in casinos, it's happening in your favorite video games. Loot boxes are designed to hook your brain before you're old enough to drive, making billions for gaming companies while leaving players addicted, anxious, and broke. This isn't just a story about games, it's about mental health, addiction, and how one of the world's biggest entertainment industries is cashing in on your happiness. So I've played a lot of the game Counter-Strike, and I know what this looks like. So you get a key for only $2.50, which isn't a lot until you're opening dozens and dozens of these. And then you get to spin a wheel, just like in a casino with a slot machine, and you get to see options of super rare cosmetics that you might possibly get. And then every time, so close, it seems like you almost had it. And that right there is when the player gets hooked. You see, gambling manipulates your brain through something called variable ratio reinforcement. When you play, you could win, or you could lose, but you don't really know until the next time that you try. So you keep on playing just for that potential dopamine hit. But to make these games more addicting, they rely on something called the near miss. It's something that harnesses and manipulates our basic biology to make us feel like we're getting better or closer to winning, but in reality, we're having no effect. The problem is, the research shows that those who buy loot boxes are nearly 5 times more likely to develop problems with gambling. And along with that, players were much more likely to develop depression, anxiety, stress, and impulsivity issues. And the worst part is that their target audience are kids. In the UK, 40% of children aged 11 to 16 years old were reported as having opened a loot box, which means that 40% of children in that country are gambling. And many of these games are rated for children as young as 7 years old. And you would think with all of these horrible statistics that gaming companies would make some changes. And they have, well, sort of. So companies like Apple and Google mandated that gaming companies disclose loot box odds on their app stores. But in 2024, the United Kingdom's Children's Commissioner found that out of the 45 highest grossing mobile games on Google Play, only 2 clearly disclosed their loot box odds. And Electronic Arts rebranded loot boxes as quote-unquote surprise mechanics, a term that really didn't fool anybody but helped them with legal hearings. And of course, ratings boards like the ESRB added a tag for quote random items, but that small label really hasn't stopped millions of kids from playing. Gaming is supposed to be fun, but when you attach gambling mechanics to it without real safeguards, it's a perfect storm. And for companies like Valve, EA, and Epic, it's an incredibly profitable one. Loot boxes alone generated billions in revenue for these companies in the last decade, and Valve's Counter-Strike skin economy even powers a shadow industry of third-party gambling sites, some of which haven't been investigated for allowing underage betting. And until stronger laws catch up, it's really up to us as parents, as players, as a community to ask better questions, to push for clear warnings, better protections, fairer games, and to convince kids to quit while they're ahead. Thank you.